In World War II, the B-17 Flying Fortress dropped nearly half of all bombs on Germany. But by the end of the war, 3 out of every 4 airmen who flew them were either killed, wounded, or captured. Thousands never even reached the battlefield. Why did so many brave crews vanish? The B-17 was designed to be tough. Back in the 1930s, the US Army wanted a bomber that could fly high, hit targets far away, and defend itself. The idea was simple. If a plane could protect itself with lots of guns, it might not need fighter escorts. So, engineers packed it with machine guns. Turrets were added in every direction. Later models even had 13 guns. Flying in tight formations, B-17s could defend each other with overlapping fire. Sounds strong, right? But the war proved otherwise. Being tough on the outside didn't mean the crew inside would survive. When German fighters attacked, their guns ripped through the planes. Anti-aircraft shells exploded nearby, tearing aluminum and killing or injuring crews. Even though the plane could sometimes make it home, many crews didn't get that chance. The irony? The very thing that made the B-17 a flying fortress made it a deadly trap. The plane's design forced it to fly steadily and straight while dropping bombs. There were no evasive moves. The B-17 could survive hits, but the crew could not. And for many, survival was just a fleeting hope. By 1942, B-17s were joining missions over Europe. American commanders believed in daylight bombing. They trusted the Norden bomb site, the plane's guns, and formation flying. Their plan? Fly in big groups, hit targets precisely, and break Germany's war machine piece by piece. The first missions shattered that hope. German fighters attacked from every angle. Anti-aircraft guns, guided by radar, rained shells on the bombers. Hundreds of planes were destroyed, crews were killed, wounded, or captured. Fighters were the first danger. Planes like the Focke-Wulf 190 or the Messerschmitt Bf 109 swarmed the bombers. The B-17s shot down some, but only at a terrible cost. Flak was the second nightmare. German anti-aircraft guns didn't aim at just one plane. They fired patterns of shells that exploded in midair. Fragments tore through the sky, shredding metal and flesh. Tight formations that were supposed to protect crews made flak even more deadly. Inside each B-17, the airmen faced conditions that would break most people. At altitudes above 25,000 feet, the unpressurized cabins were freezing, with temperatures dropping below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Oxygen was delivered through thin tubes to masks, and a single crack in the supply system could cause hypoxia in seconds. Electric suits helped preserve body heat, but they were cumbersome, stiff, and often failed in prolonged missions. Waist gunners, stationed behind open plexiglass windows, faced the harshest reality. Fingers could freeze to the metal gun mounts. Frostbite was a constant threat. Some crews had to amputate tips of fingers mid-campaign. Tail gunners, perched at the very end of the plane, experienced slightly more stability, but still had to manage recoil from their .50 caliber guns while maintaining aim on fast, twisting enemy fighters. Sleep was non-existent. Crews sometimes flew 12 to 14-hour missions with minimal food, often just a chocolate bar, a small sandwich, or a few hard biscuits. Pilots and bombardiers shared the same oxygen lines, constantly monitoring gauges while navigating under intense flak fire and evasive fighter attacks. Every hour in the sky tested courage, skill, and sheer luck. But luck was a rare ally. Allied commanders tried many solutions. They tightened formations into a combat box so gunners could cover more angles. Some planes were modified to act as gunships, armed with extra guns and ammo to protect others. The B-17 crews were trapped in a deadly cycle. Every adjustment by the Allies led to new threats. Yet, commanders continued the missions, driven by the belief that bombing Germany could shorten the war. Thousands of men paid the price. By 1943, B-17 crews faced missions deeper into Germany than ever before. Daylight bombing was still the strategy, precision over cover of darkness, but the risks grew exponentially. The bombers crossed hundreds of miles of hostile airspace, often out of range of their fighter escorts. Every radar station, every anti-aircraft gun, and every German fighter squadron seemed to anticipate their path. Crews knew that even a single mistake could be fatal. Tight formations offered some protection against fighters, but also created concentrated targets for flak. The very strategy designed to keep men alive now became a trap. The B-17 was equipped with the Norden bomb sight, a sophisticated mechanical computer that allowed bombardiers to calculate bomb trajectories with incredible precision. On paper, bombs fell in patterns wide enough to destroy factories, railways, and bridges, but rarely without collateral risk. Armament was equally impressive but limited. The B-17 could carry up to 13 50 caliber M2 Browning machine guns in turret, tail, waist, nose, and chin positions. However, ammunition was finite. Each gunner had a total firing window of less than 2 minutes before running dry. When enemy fighters approached in high-speed dives or from blind spots, the gunners were often unable to react in time. Bombers were not fast. Cruising at about 150 to 160 miles per hour at operational altitude, they relied on numbers and defensive fire rather than speed. German fighters, often twice as fast and more maneuverable, exploited this, attacking in waves from multiple directions. These missions were life and death, but there's more history waiting to be uncovered. Subscribe now and don't miss what's coming next. A standard B-17 crew consisted of 10 men: pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, flight engineer, top turret gunner, radio operator, ball turret gunner, tail gunner, and 2 waist gunners. Each had specialized responsibilities and all depended on each other to survive. The ball turret, a cramped rotating sphere underneath the fuselage, was arguably the most dangerous position. The gunner was exposed, practically cocooned in thin metal, with only minimal protection. Bombs dropped from above, flak exploded around, and the gunners had to fire at attacking fighters with limited visibility. Statistics show that ball turret gunners had the highest casualty rate among all positions. Parachuting out of a stricken B-17 was no guarantee of survival. A plane spinning out of control or on fire made bailout nearly impossible. Even if the airmen reached the ground, enemy fighters sometimes targeted descending parachutists, and once on land, capture or harsh imprisonment awaited. Some B-17 crews survived near-impossible situations, becoming legends of the air war. One bomber, nicknamed All-American, returned with over 100 flak holes, 2 engines out, and a shattered tail. Every crew member survived, a rare miracle. Navigators played a critical role in survival. Using dead reckoning, celestial navigation, and radio signals, they guided damaged planes back across hundreds of miles of hostile territory. A single miscalculation could send a plane directly into the densest flak zone, or lead to a forced landing behind enemy lines. The ingenuity of the crews was remarkable. Gunners improvised, using rifle sights when turret guns jammed. Pilots manually stabilized planes missing control surfaces. Radio operators patched oxygen leaks with duct tape. Every mission became a high-stakes exercise. By mid-1944, the combination of long-range escorts and improved tactics started paying off. Bombing campaigns became more effective, targeting factories, rail networks, and oil refineries, crucial to the German war effort. Casualties were still high, but the once devastating attrition began to ease. Airmen adapted as well. Rotations allowed for experienced crews to mentor new ones. Flight engineers were trained to quickly repair minor damage mid-flight. Bombardiers learned to release munitions under unpredictable conditions, adjusting for wind, speed, and altitude on the fly. Yet the danger never fully disappeared. Anti-aircraft artillery remained unpredictable, and German fighter pilots were relentless. Every mission carried the same risk. Engines could fail, oxygen lines could rupture, or flak could tear a plane apart. The story of the B-17 is one of paradox. A plane designed to be a fortress was also a gauntlet. A crew's survival depended not only on machine design, but on skill, teamwork, and resilience. By war's end, tens of thousands of airmen had flown B-17 missions, and thousands never returned. But their efforts reshaped the air war. The Flying Fortress became a symbol, not just of American industrial might, but of human courage facing almost unimaginable odds. Every mission carried the weight of strategy, sacrifice, and survival, leaving a legacy that would echo in aviation history forever.